Our next speaker is Ahmadou from University Gaston Berger de Saint Louis in Senegal. He's going to talk on the effects of rainfall shocks on child nutrition in Senegal.
Good morning, everybody. This is an ongoing paper which title is Effects of Rainfall Shocks on Children Malnutrition in Senegal, which is part of my PhD dissertation. In terms of introduction, we can say that malnutrition is a major concern in developing countries. But despite the effort made, the progress seems still to be insufficient to meet certain related SDGs, for example, especially for some regions around the world, such as sub-Saharan Africa, where a quarter of malnourished children are located. But what is interesting in explaining the reason behind this situation, climate can be one of those reasons, and many studies have tried to explain what are the linkages between climate and even between rainfall and children malnutrition. Some studies, some seminal papers have even shown that rainfall shocks, conditions, in utero conditions, conditions during pregnancy have effects on the future, on the health of the future child. And these effects can persist over a long time. But what is still need to be explored in the literature is, for example, in an economic perspective, is to go beyond a single indicator such as stunting, where economists do like this type of indicators and try to have a wide array of indicators and to see what are its effects. But also for the causal mechanism transmission, not only rely on income and see other transmission channels to assess these effects. But also there are very rare papers that have tried to explain the rainfall effects on children malnutrition in a West African setting. So our research questions are about the effect of prenatal and postnatal rainfall shocks on children nutritional outcome in Senegal, but also what are the effects. We did an analysis by gender, and also what are the causal transmission on income, but also on the percentage of time on working activities for the mother. There was a paper yesterday that has try to explore this trend about the time use. Our data, our socioeconomic data, come from Feed the Future baseline, which is a data set from Feed the Future, which is a program of US government support many countries, and Senegal is part of, in 2014, where we have a larger array of socioeconomic variables, but also anthropometric indicators, which is pretty interesting for what we want to do. And our sample size is 3,740 children, which are aged between 0 and 60 months. And the rainfall data have been collected from the National Rainfall Agency within 16 stations. We try to affect the rainfall data at the district level. For the child, we try to see the closest station. If you don't have a station close at least 50 kilometers, we try to see the second closest one. And into assessing prenatal and postnatal rainfall shock, we did a linear regression with 3 dependent variables with these scores of weight for age, height for age, and weight for height. And rainfall shocks here are constructed as the standard deviation of annual rainfall over long-term average. The long-term average is here 10 years. For the findings, what we see that stunting is a big issue in Senegal, as a quarter of children are affected, but also wasting and so as underweighted. But in an in a gender analysis, what we see that boys are more affected. So the pink is the girls, and the purple is the boys, and the green is the old. I do like this picture because what it visually represents is where the stunted children are located. But when you see the green lines, it's the average rainfall, the average rainfall of the period of 2005 and 2014. But when you look at the north, the green one, it's 300 millimeters. But in the very south, it's 1,100 millimeters. But what we see is the region where there is more rainfall, we see most of stunted children. What it says in a way that it is not the amount of rainfall that matters, but how rainfall is distributed over time and within a season. And that's what this graph also says. This is a 5-year to 5-year average cumulative rainfall between 91 and 2015, and we see that the rainfall variability is relatively high, but also we didn't put it in the presentation. The intra-season variability is quite high in Senegal. In terms of results in the effect of prenatal and postnatal shocks, what we see that prenatal shocks do have effect on children's stunting. For example, a reduce in a negative rainfall shocks would affect the height for age of 0.347. And for the postnatal rainfall shocks for the first year of life, we see that it has effect on weight for height z-scores. When we do the analysis by gender, as a summary, we don't see very large differences between boys and girls, but we do see that prenatal shocks still have effects on stunting, but boys are a little bit more affected than girls, but it's not very significant. When the postnatal shocks affect, the coefficient is more significant for boys than for girls for the postnatal shocks. And for the transmission channels, what we do see also is that rainfall shocks, yes, they have effect on farm income and non-farm income. A positive rainfall shocks increase the farm income. 409 franc CFA, that is the currency in Senegal, it's about $0.8. So a positive rainfall shock increases the farm income while it decreases the non-farm income. And the percentage of time of the mother working times, the rainfall shocks have effects on that variable. In terms of conclusion, we can say that prenatal and postnatal shocks have effect on children malnutrition, but it depends on the indicator considered. For the prenatal shocks, they have effect on stunting, while postnatal, it's about for wasting. But we didn't detect very large differences, as I said earlier, between boys and girls on induced rainfall shocks. And income and percentage of mother working time are consistent transmission mechanism for rainfall-induced effects on children malnutrition. As it is an ongoing paper, we are going to refine the analysis, especially for gender effects, because we are a little bit, we doubt about the coefficient, especially for the wasting, which is a little bit very high. But also we will include both season effects in estimation to see whether the rainy season or the dry season have some changes about the result what we got, but also explore some potential result biases for example, for the selection bias, if the children that are most vulnerable to rainfall shocks, maybe they have migrated and they did have some effect on our results, and maybe they had some biases. But also for the last one, which is very important, we need to check interrelations between causal transmission mechanism. For example, we said that we have seen that percentage of mother working time, rainfall shocks have effect on mother working time. But for example, if negative rainfall shocks affect reduces percentage of mother working time, does it really mean it will increase the income? And does it really mean it will increase the children's nutritional outcome? This is the point that we will explore very soon. Thank you.